Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for taking a second to check the video out, the tournament recap. Just finished up day 2 here at Lake Pickwick for the first Bassmaster Central Open, and had another limit today, about the same as yesterday, which equals to a butt kicking here. I was going to sort of give you guys a rundown of what happened in this tournament and sort of like tell you what I think I did wrong, what I did right, and sort of give you an overview. It might help you guys down the road somewhere. So anyway, practice here in this tournament. If you guys followed my practice report, you know I spent most of my practice out fishing, this one major grass plat on the lake, 5 mile long lake, 5 mile long grass plat. I was just convinced the fish were out there, and I just couldn't get it going out there after practice. But I still felt those fish were there. I saw a few boats fishing out there, everything was perfect. The fish are coming off the beds. That's the first place I'd go to. And I really wanted to spend a lot of time out there and figure out how to catch those fish, because I just felt that's where this tournament could get won. And the last day of practice, I only had 2.5 days of practice. So the last day of practice, I actually ran down to Bay Springs Lake down there, and I wound up catching about probably 14 pounds or so the last day of practice there on a topwater and a swim bait down there. And they were pretty easy to catch, but again, I didn't think 14 pounds was going to do me anything in the tournament, any good at all. So the first day of the tournament, I made the commitment to practice again, and I was going to go back and just keep fishing that flat on areas of it I haven't fished, just trying to find those fish. And the first day of practice, I was running up there, and it was raining really hard, and I knew I had this one large cove that I'd caught them in before, and I wanted just to go in there and see it, just basically to get out of that pouring rain and try to get a couple bites. And I wound up catching a limit in there like in an hour and a half. There's quite a few other boats in there. Probably could have stayed in there. If I'd have stayed in there all day long, I probably could have caught 14 or 15 pounds. I'm pretty confident. But after about an hour and a half, I bailed out and went back down to the grass flat again, and spent 6 hours on the grass flat with not another bite. So so going in today, I just gave up on it. I wasn't going to try it again. So I knew I had to make a big comeback today. I felt I had to catch 20 pounds to get it in the check range. So I started out, fishing a football head jig on some points, on some steeper banks, trying to catch some post-spawn smallmouth. And I wound up catching 3 or 4, decent keeper largemouth on the football head jig. And then about probably 10:30 or so, I started moving to the docks, and I started skipping a wacky rig under the docks. And I wound up catching 5 or 6 more keepers on that, but just all the same size, just keeper males. But I've caught big ones doing that before. I mean, I've caught a lot of 4 to 5 pounders on a wacky rig in April before, so I felt that it was a smart move. But the thing about this tournament, there were 2 other giant tournaments out of the lake today practicing. Our boat was 225 boats. There was another 200 and something boat practicing about at the ramp about 5 miles down the lake, and another one east. So there was like 600 tournament boats on the lake today. It was absolutely ridiculous. So when there's that many boats on the lake, you can't you're limited to where you can go, because you pull into a cove and there's 2 or 3 boats fishing the docks. You go out to a main river transition or channel intersection, and there's 2 or 3 boats on the intersection. So it makes it really hard to make a comeback when there's 600 boats on the lake. It really does. But okay, here's what I think I would have done different. Here's some advice I can give you guys on this particular one. This tournament was sort of a hodgepodge deal. A lot of the guys caught them out on some specific offshore spots, some grass, some channel intersections, some just bare points, some shell beds. There was a mix of offshore catches going on, which is typical on Pickwick, because Pickwick, this Pickwick is a huge advantage if you're local, and there was a ton of locals in this tournament. My co-angler yesterday, he was a local here, and when we were at the weigh-in yesterday at the bag line up there, and we're waiting to get our bags, and there were guys in the bag line too, and he was going, he's a local, he guides here, he's a guide, that guy guides here. And it's like, God dang, am I the only one in this tournament that doesn't guide here or am a local? So, you know, and they know those offshore sweet spots, those little shell beds and the subtle stuff. So, so Pickwick has maintained, if you guys saw my pre-tournament video, it's maintained its status of one of my least favorite lakes in the country. And this is one of the few times I have not got a check. I usually get a check here. So, but anyway, back to what to do in there. There's a hodgepodge of things going on. Some guys caught them on a shad spawn, not very many guys. Some guys capitalized on that yesterday in the low light conditions with the rain. Didn't work that great today. Hodgepodge of offshore stuff. There were some shallow grass fish being caught, just a little bit of everything. But here's the difference, and it's one of the things I talked about in my pre-tournament report. To get a check or to do good in these tournaments, and Pickwick was a prime example, you can't just catch a limit both days like I did. You've got to get hit by a good one or two. And yesterday when I was in the bag line, the guys that I saw that had the better bags, like the 14, 16, 17 pound bags, they had a limit of fish, basically what I did, but they had a big one with it. They had a 5 or 6 pounder with it. And that is what you've got to have in the tournament. So from that standpoint, you know, I'm not unhappy with the way I fished the tournament, because I think I fished the tournament, you know, trying to get in the top 10. And that's why I stayed out on that grass flat so long, trying to capitalize on that big bite. But one of the tips I can give you guys, you know, on this particular situation, it's all about your expectations. If you're wanting just to catch fish, just numbers of fish, like on Pickwick right now or anywhere, you can fish that hodgepodge of stuff. You can throw a wacky rig around docks. You can throw a shaky head on points and catch them. But if you want to do good and catch quality fish, finish high in tournaments, or just catch quality fish in general for fun, you've got to be around where those big ones were. And those big ones, you're going to catch those big ones in the pre or post spawn patterns. Very seldom are you going to catch them every day when they're actually spawning. I mean, you can, but it's rare. So most of the guys that do good in these tournaments, they capitalize on the pre and post spawn fish, even if they're spawning fish there, which there were here. So looking back in this tournament, you know, I'm, you know, even though, you know, I caught limits both days of the tournaments, and that's the worst thing in these tournaments, is when you catch a limit both days and get your butt kicked. I got my butt kicked here, but I'm not unhappy with the way I fished. If I would have stayed shallow, and like if I would have stayed where I was catching them the first day and continued to catch, you know, 2.5 pounders, yeah, I'd have been frustrated. But I gave myself the opportunity. I went out with the big 1 ounce spinnerbait, chatterbait, and the offshore grass, trying to catch that big bag of fish, and it just didn't work out this time. I mean, I have no doubt some guys probably caught them like that, but it just didn't work out for me. So you know, that's the thing about fishing, guys. It's all just you know, fishing is, you know, there's so many variables involved to success, and it's just like mushroom hunting, or if you're looking for arrowheads. You may know where those arrowheads and those mushrooms grow, but that doesn't mean you're going to find them. And it's sort of like fishing here, like what happened to me. I may know where those bass are at, and I may be totally confident I know where they're at, but just because I know where they're at, it doesn't mean I'm going to find them. So there's a fine line between catching fish and not in these tournaments, a real fine line. But anyway, it just didn't work out for me this tournament. It's, you know, obviously, you know, with this finish that I had here, double limits, I'm going to finish probably in the middle of the pack. You know, that's going to take me out of any Elite Series shot. You know, I'm just fishing the 3 Central Opens this year. So the next 2 tournaments, next 2 Opens, I'll just be trying to win them to make the Classic. That'll be my goal. And next week I'm leaving for the Toyota Series, the last Toyota Series tournament, Lake Dardanelle. I'm right on the bubble for qualifying for the championship there. So if I have a decent finish there, I'll make that Toyota championship and get a chance to fish for 200 and something thousand in the championship, which is good. So anyway, just a wrap up, guys. Like I said, thanks for following me all week. I really appreciate you guys, you know, taking interest in this tournament. And shoot me some comments if there's anything I can answer, you know, regarding this tournament, as far as that might help you guys out. You know, shoot a comment in the comment section, and I'll try to get around to them. So again, thanks again, much appreciated, and we'll check in later, guys.